Does your SteamOS desktop look like this, or maybe worse? Maybe you deleted your taskbar or something else of importance. We're going to help you not only get it back, but we're going to teach you everything you need to know about desktops, widgets, and panels so you can make this your own. Stick around.
Let's go into the Monroe world.
Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here. You're probably here because you're desperate to get your desktop back. So before we teach, let's do some do first. Open up the Dolphin File Manager, and we're going to navigate to our home folder. If you do not have these hidden files, you're going to need to turn those on by going to the hamburger menu and choosing Show Hidden Files. Once you have that, find the config folder and scroll down until you see this rather long file name. Right here, that's the guy. All you need to do is delete that and life will get back to normal. That's really it. Believe it or not, just delete it. All right, now obviously your desktop still looks this way because we need to reload the desktop so it picks up on your lack of configuration. We'll open up the console and we're going to type in a very simple command. It will be down in the description if you want to cut and paste instead of type it. Pretty simple. We're going to kill all Plasma shell, right? That's going to get rid of our shell, and then we're going to do a K-start to restart the shell. You could reboot your Steam Deck too if you wanted to, either way. Look at that. And it's back. The universe is back in order. Everything is as it should be. Now that things are back to normal, it's time to learn how Plasma Desktop works so you can safely customize your desktop. To better understand things, we need to talk about three key concepts and how they interact with each other. Every screen attached to the Steam Deck, including the built-in one, has a desktop attached to it. Unless the external screen is a replica of the internal screen, of course, then they both have the same desktop. By default, every desktop can hold icons, widgets, and panels. The taskbar at the bottom of the screen isn't like the taskbar on Windows. It is actually a panel filled with widgets created by default for the Steam Deck. We'll look at how it's built later, as well as show how to clone it to your other screen, which is something commonly asked by my viewers. Here, we've accidentally deleted our taskbar, or let's call it task panel, so we need to get it back. Right-click on the desktop and select Enter Edit Mode. Along the top, some options will appear. Select Add Panel and choose Default Panel. Your task panel should appear at the bottom like it always does. Hit Exit. If your panel shows up looking funny or squished, we can fix that. Right-click on the edge of the panel and select Show Panel Configuration. In this case, it is set to be right-aligned and set to fill content, neither of which we want. Let's change it to center aligned and change width to fill width. We're going to look at some of these other options later. Now that we're done with the emergency fixes, let's get on with learning how all these things work together and how you can maximize your layouts. Let's start off with looking at desktops. Right-click on the desktop and hit Display Configuration. If you are just on your Steam Deck with no external monitors connected, your options will look a lot more simple than what you're seeing here. The next piece of teaching will assume two screens. You can skip ahead to the next relevant part by jumping to the time marked on the video now. If you're a Windows user, this screen should look somewhat familiar. We have two screens, and how they are positioned here should indicate your physical screen layout. In my case, my deck is on a wall mount directly to the left of my external monitor, and it's pretty much centered top to bottom. The screen arrangement you see here represents it perfectly. You would want this to be as accurate as possible so your mouse naturally flows from one monitor to the other. These are easy to drag and drop into the proper arrangement. Maybe your deck sits below your monitor or on the right side. Maybe it is sitting down below on your desk to the left side, so you would want your arrangement to reflect that. Many people simply want to mirror their deck screen to a monitor. That's done here with the Replica Of options. You can also use a global scaling to ensure new opened windows are larger and easier to see. Note my global scaling is 100% and I open Dolphin. It looks normal, right? Now I will zoom it to 150% and hit apply. Nothing happened, right? That's because it only affects new windows going forward. If I close Dolphin and reopen it, bam, 150% it is. Good for screen recordings and demos. Now that we have multiple screens set up correctly, let's move on to desktops. Everything you see on this screen is part of the desktop. Here you will see icons and panels, the task panel, and of course, the wallpaper. Now, changing the wallpaper is really easy, and you probably figured it out that if you right-click the desktop, choose Desktop and Wallpaper, well, you'll know how to do it. Icons, of course, can be dragged around the desktop and even moved to other desktops on other screens. Before someone leaves me any nastygrams in the comments about my not covering virtual desktops, that's 201, and if you want me to cover it, leave a comment down below. You can change the icon behavior by right-clicking, and under icons, change the size, sorting by, and even lock the icons to force them to behave. Just know that moving icons around from desktops to desktops can remove the sorting options even if you have the icons locked down. Let's move on to widgets. Widgets are little programs that can live and function on your desktop. They live in panels too, but we'll get back to that later. Add widgets by right-clicking and enter edit mode, and in the upper left corner, you'll see Add or Manage Widgets. Click on that, and all available widgets are shown. You can search for widgets, filter them, or even get new ones, but we're not covering the getting new ones part today. Simply drag the widget you want to the screen location you want. Yes, you can drop to panels here as well. For now, though, we'll just throw a few widgets on our desktop. Some pretty useful things there, yeah? Most widgets have configuration options of their own to tailor them the way that you like. They can even be rotated. Once you've had your fun, we can hit Exit Edit Mode. Now we know that widgets are for both desktops and for panels. So let's learn about panels by deconstructing the task panel at the bottom and creating it from scratch. Then we'll deploy it to the other desktop when we're done. Enter Edit Mode again and select Add Panel, then Empty Panel. You now see an empty panel on the top that says Add Widgets. But before we can add anything, we need to see what widgets the task panel is using. Right-click the task panel and select Show Panel Configuration. This should look familiar to you. We saw it earlier. Let's hover the task panel left to right and see what we have. The Start button is called Application Launcher. That makes sense. Next over is Pager. This is for virtual desktops, so we'll leave that for another video. Moving to the right again shows us the Icons-Only Task Manager. Next up is the Margin Separator. Moving over again shows us System Tray. Next is Digital Clock. And finally, Peek at Desktop. Great. We now know everything we need to build it from scratch. Now, we could place a blank panel on the other screen. Remember, many of you want this task panel on both screens. And no, there is no easy way to duplicate or clone. I don't know why, that's crazy. But let's build it together here on the main screen, and then I'll show you how to move it over. So let's start adding widgets to that top panel. Now I'm going to do this all in a montage series. Just slow the video down, pause the video if you're not following along. We are going to show you another way to add that panel. So if you get lost somewhere, don't panic. We got you covered. All right, we now have a reasonable facsimile of the task panel here at the top. Now let's move it over to the built-in screen. Enter Edit Mode and then Panel and Desktop Management. You can see the desktops, including the one with our two panels, top and bottom, right there on it. Let's grab the panel from the top of my external desktop and move it to the internal screen. It'll still be on the top, but we can fix that in just a minute. You should now see your homemade task panel on the other screen at the top. Let's right-click and show panel configuration. Click Position and choose the bottom of your internal display and exit Edit Mode. There you go. Of course, you probably know the easier way to do this. Let's delete the homemade one first. Right-click and show panel configuration. Select delete. Now, still in edit mode, on the internal screen, choose add panel and then default panel. So why didn't we do this the first time? Well, we wouldn't have learned a lot of skills had we done it the easy way. Plus, if you're using a custom panel, you need these tools in your tool belt. Before we finish up, remember, your configurations are stored in the file we mentioned earlier inside the .config folder. Let's make a copy of that to our downloads just in case we ever want to get it back. Now remember, this is a 101 course. We left a lot of advanced topics out, and if you want to see more about this particular topic, leave a comment down below, and while you're there, like, sub, hype the video, if you like what we're doing, of course. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.